Most people watch oil prices when the Middle East gets tense, but smart investors watch something else entirely. The real money from an Iran crisis doesn't go to Exxon or Chevron. It flows into three mid-cap companies most people never hear about. And if the Middle East cracks, these three win quietly. Every major conflict in history has created a small group of beneficiaries most people missed. Not the obvious ones, the structural ones. Today, three stocks under $30 billion in market cap, each positioned for a different piece of the Iran crisis. A Navy monopoly you can actually buy. A shipping company that makes more money the longer the route gets. And a drone maker with a 70% kill rate on the battlefield. Before we start, every number in this video comes from SEC filings, government contract databases, and publicly reported battlefield data. No speculation. Nothing here is investment advice. These are structural analyses of how capital actually moves when the world gets unstable. The question you should ask after watching isn't whether to buy any specific stock. It's whether you understand the structure well enough to see the next one coming before everyone else does. Now let's get into it. Start with something most investors don't know. Every single nuclear reactor on an American Navy submarine or aircraft carrier comes from one company. Not General Electric, not Westinghouse. A company called BWX Technologies, ticker BWXT. BWX Technologies has manufactured naval nuclear components since the 1950s. They designed and built the reactor on the USS Nautilus, the first nuclear submarine in history. That single project launched them into a position no competitor has ever broken. Today, their reactors power every active submarine class the Navy operates. Ohio-class ballistic missile submarines, Los Angeles-class attack submarines, Seawolf-class attack submarines, and the Virginia-class attack submarines currently patrolling the Persian Gulf. They're already delivering components for the new Columbia-class, which is the next generation of ballistic missile submarines currently under construction. Every Ford-class aircraft carrier uses their components too. In total, BWX Technologies has delivered over 1,300 large nuclear components worldwide. They're the sole commercial heavy nuclear component manufacturer in North America. That's not a competitive advantage. That's a monopoly that would take decades to replicate even if a competitor wanted to try. Here's why this matters right now. If Iran escalates, what's the Navy's most valuable asset in the Persian Gulf? Attack submarines. Specifically, Virginia-class submarines that can operate undetected near the Strait of Hormuz, monitor Iranian military movements, and deliver precision strikes without detection. Every single one has a BWX Technologies reactor inside. In 2025, the company secured $2.6 billion in new naval nuclear reactor contracts. Products from those contracts will be delivered over the next 6 to 8 years, covering Virginia-class, Columbia-class, and Ford-class aircraft carrier components. That's a locked-in revenue stream almost entirely immune to economic cycles. And that's before AUKUS kicks in. AUKUS is the agreement between the United States, Britain, and Australia to give Australia nuclear-powered submarines. That program requires entirely new reactor capacity beyond what the Navy itself needs. BWX Technologies has already received government funding to expand their production facilities specifically for AUKUS-related demand. Customer-funded expansion. That means the American government is paying the company to grow its own monopoly even further. And there's a third wave coming. Small modular reactors, also known as SMRs. AI data centers need massive stable power. Traditional grids can't scale fast enough to match the rate at which Microsoft, Amazon, and Google are building out AI capacity. All three are exploring nuclear. BWX Technologies is already building commercial small modular reactor technology through a project called Banner. The company that powers Navy submarines may also end up powering cloud infrastructure. Most investors know Cameco, the uranium miner. They don't know BWX Technologies, market cap around $10 billion, defense procurement plus AI data center demand plus AUKUS expansion. Three structural tailwinds converging on a single company that holds a monopoly no one can replicate. Here's a question most investors get wrong. When the Strait of Hormuz gets dangerous, oil prices go up. Everyone knows that. But who actually makes more money from the danger itself? Not Exxon, not Chevron, not Saudi Aramco. A small Danish shipping company called TORM, ticker TRMD. TORM operates product tankers, ships that move refined oil products across the ocean. Gasoline, jet fuel, diesel, and kerosene. Market cap around $3 billion. Publicly listed. And the mechanic you need to understand is this. When Iran threatens Hormuz, Asian refiners don't stop buying oil. They can't. Their economies would collapse. They just change where they buy it from. Instead of sourcing from the Middle East, they buy from the United States. From Texas, from Louisiana, from the American Gulf Coast. Now look at a map. The distance from the Middle East to South Korea is about 6,500 nautical miles. From the American Gulf Coast, the same route runs 9,500 nautical miles. That's 46% longer. Every single barrel, same amount of oil, same level of demand, but every single barrel now occupies a tanker for 46% more time. The global tanker fleet doesn't grow overnight. You can't order a fleet of new tankers and have them delivered in 6 months. Shipyards take years, but the demand for tanker days, that changes in weeks. What happens when demand jumps and supply can't respond? Rates explode. This isn't theory. Shipping analysts call it the ton-mile effect. 1% of Hormuz risk doesn't raise tanker rates by 1%. It raises them disproportionately because tankers get locked into longer voyages and available capacity drops fast. Insurance costs spike too. Every tanker passing near a conflict zone pays war risk insurance premiums that can multiply overnight. Ships routed the long way around avoid those premiums. That becomes another price signal pushing rates higher on the longer routes. And here's what makes TORM different from most shipping companies. They return the majority of earnings to shareholders through special dividends. When rates spike, shareholders don't wait for stock appreciation. They get cash payouts directly every quarter the market runs hot. In 2023, a year of elevated shipping rates, TORM's dividend yield hit over 20%. 20%. That's not a stock return. That's a crisis payout structure built into the business model. This is what sophisticated investors actually do. They don't bet on oil prices. They bet on oil routes. When the shortest route gets blocked, the longest route wins. TORM owns the ships doing exactly that math. Every time a headline about Hormuz appears, their fleet's value just went up. This is AeroVironment, ticker AVAV. They make a weapon called the Switchblade. A Switchblade 600 is a loitering munition. It's a small, expendable drone that a single soldier can launch from a backpack in less than 2 minutes. It flies for 40 minutes, identifies a target using onboard sensors, and dives into it. There's no recovery, no return trip. It destroys itself along with whatever it hits. Cost per unit about $100,000. Target a tank worth $5 million. A $100,000 weapon destroying a $5 million tank. That math is the new economics of war, and it changes everything about how conflicts get fought. In Ukraine, switchblades have been in active combat use since 2022. Not demo flights, not training videos. Real-world combat against Russian armor. The hit rate against moving armored vehicles is 70%. 70%. That's not a training exercise statistic. That's a battlefield number from 3 years of active war, confirmed by multiple reporting channels. The platform has evolved in response. Switchblade 300 is the smaller, lighter version for anti-personnel missions. Switchblade 600 is the heavier variant designed specifically to destroy armored vehicles and light buildings. AeroVironment also operates Puma and Raven, smaller reconnaissance drones, and a larger system called Jump 20 for extended surveillance missions. This is a full portfolio, not a single product. In fiscal year 2025, AeroVironment's loitering munitions segment grew 83% year over year. 83%. The Switchblade platform accounts for roughly 80% of that segment's revenue. They secured a $1 billion IDIQ contract from the American Army, the largest single contract in the company's history, and it's structured as sole source, meaning no competitor was even eligible to bid. On top of that, 8 international countries have ordered Switchblades already. That's a distribution that goes well beyond American demand alone. Now consider the Iran scenario. Modern Iran versus America conflict doesn't look like 2003 Iraq. No massive ground invasion with armored divisions. It looks like precision strikes, drones hitting missile launchers before they fire, targeted attacks on radar sites and command centers, defense of oil terminals along the Arabian Peninsula, protection of aircraft carrier strike groups operating near Iranian waters. Every single one of those mission types calls for small, cheap, expendable, autonomous drones, not F-35s, not Apache helicopters, not Tomahawk cruise missiles that cost $2 million each. Switchblades. The weapon was built for exactly this conflict profile. There are faster-growing drone companies in the space, Anduril and Shield AI. Both are currently private. Anduril is valued somewhere between $60 and $80 billion in late-stage funding rounds. Shield AI around $12 billion. If you want to own a piece of this autonomous drone trend as a public market investor right now, AeroVironment is essentially the only pure-play option on a major exchange. Market cap around $6.5 billion. Revenue already scaling. Product already combat-proven over 3 years of real war. And already paid for by the American government through the largest contract in company history. 3 different mechanisms. A Navy monopoly that cannot be replicated. A shipping rule rooted in geography. A weapon already proven on a real battlefield, each one pointing at the same crisis from a different angle. None of these stocks is a bet on what Iran will do. They're positioned for the structural shift that happens regardless. Tankers rerouting, submarines repositioning, drones replacing manned platforms. The pattern is already visible in the contracts being signed today. So let's connect it. An Iran crisis doesn't play out in one way. It plays out simultaneously across 3 dimensions. First dimension, military positioning, submarines reposition to the Persian Gulf, carrier strike groups stay longer on station, procurement budgets get accelerated. That's BWXT Technologies getting accelerated orders on Virginia-class and Columbia-class reactors. Nuclear propulsion becomes non-negotiable. Second dimension, energy logistics. Asian refiners pivot away from Middle East oil toward American Gulf Coast supply. Tanker routes stretch by nearly half again. War risk insurance premiums spike on any route through contested waters. That's TORM's rates exploding through the ton-mile effect and the insurance repricing. Third dimension, battlefield economics. Defensive and offensive drones become the dominant weapon class. Precision strikes replace mass troop deployment. Cheap autonomous systems outperform expensive manned platforms. That's AeroVironment's order book filling with government purchase orders. 3 different stocks, 3 different mechanisms, 1 structural tailwind powering all of them simultaneously. That's not a coincidence. That's how crisis economics actually works. When the world gets unstable, a few companies are positioned to absorb the spending that instability forces. The investors who notice those positions first before the news cycle catches up are the ones who get rich again. If you're watching the Middle East like it's breaking news, you're reading the wrong chart. Every headline about Iran, missile strikes, tanker incidents, diplomatic breakdowns is a repricing signal for these 3 structures. Not a reason to panic, a reason to understand who actually benefits when the next headline hits. The structural winners don't wait for the war to resolve. They get priced in before most people notice the news even matters. That's always how it works. In 2001, defense contractors repriced within days of September 11th. In 2022, energy and shipping stocks moved before the Russia-Ukraine war reached its first week. The pattern repeats because the mechanism repeats. Capital flows toward the companies that solve the new problem, and away from the ones exposed to the old status quo. Most retail investors are still looking at oil futures and defense ETFs. The structural bet is 1 layer underneath that. Here's what you now know. BWXT Technologies has a monopoly on American Navy nuclear reactors, and every submarine repositioning to the Gulf needs one. TORM wins when tanker routes get longer, and Iran is exactly what forces those routes to get longer. AeroVironment makes the weapon already proving itself in combat, and Iran is the exact scenario where that weapon gets used. 3 stocks, 3 mechanisms, 1 crisis. Very few people are watching this structure. The ones who are getting ready. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We're just getting started.